When looking up the words leadership, innovation, and risk-takers in the dictionary, it would be understandable to find photos of the Kilgour brothers there. John and Charles Kilgour are responsible for leading Cincinnati into some of the most technologically advanced opportunities in our city's early history. They shared and achieved their desire to increase the transportation and communication capabilities of Cincinnati. Their vision is felt to this very day and will extend well into the future. Charles Kilgour was born in 1833. His brother John was born the following year in 1834. Both attended Cincinnati's St. Xavier College and Burlington College in New Jersey. John married Mary McIntosh and had 5 children. Charles remained a bachelor for his entire life. As individuals, each was brilliant, driven, and assertive in thought and action. The brothers' pioneering spirit involved them in a number of businesses. Charles launched his entrepreneurial career in 1860 by opening a brokerage house with a partner, and then in 1864, buying an Ohio River packet boat he named the John Kilgour after his father. During the Civil War, the boat worked the Cincinnati to New Orleans trade, carrying war goods and troops. John began his career as clerk at the Neve, Brown, and Kilgour grocery firm. After the war, Charles pioneered mass transportation in Cincinnati. In 1854, he applied for the first street railway franchise in Cincinnati. The brothers invested in several horse-drawn streetcar companies, including the Pendleton and Fifth Street Market Line in 1859. In the 1860s, Charles was the first person locally to substitute a steam engine for horses, as he did with the beloved Mount Lookout dummy car that carried commuters from Eastern Avenue to the center of the new suburb, which the brothers were critical to developing. Eventually, the Kilgour brothers engineered a series of street railway mergers, creating the Cincinnati Consolidated Street Railway Company in 1873, and ultimately the Cincinnati Street Railway Company in the 1890s. The Kilgours introduced electric trolleys to Cincinnati in 1888.
To a great extent, I think they opened up Cincinnati.
I know that they were very, very involved in Cincinnati all their entire life.
Communication by wire came to Cincinnati in that same year, 1873, as a result of an accident involving Charles. He fell and broke a leg when his horse was spooked by one of his own steam traction cars. Forced to work from home, when a clerk suggested a telegraph might save time and money, Kilgour had one installed. That led him to form City and Suburban Telegraph Association, which we know as Cincinnati Bell, and began erecting poles to carry the thousands of miles of necessary wire.
Before long, a whole lot of other business executives wanted telegraph lines in their home. That telegraph became the telephone, then became the wireless phone, then became the internet, then became the broadband, then became the entertainment. So our friends the Kilgours were really, I don't think they knew what they were getting into, but it was all about that disability that led to the innovation of the telegraph here in Cincinnati.
When Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876, the Kilgours quickly arranged for a demonstration in Cincinnati. The following year, they built on their telegraph system to incorporate the new technology. The Kilgours were among the first to recognize the telephone's potential for rapid communication, and their functioning telegraphic communication network was readily adaptable to the telephone. Together, they witnessed great success and expansion of telephone communications. The firm was placing approximately 6,300 calls daily, and phone services were being completed in Hamilton and Brighton. Around this same time, the brothers created another business, the Security Storage Company of Cincinnati, and convinced AT&T to purchase 20% of the company. In 1880, telephone service crossed state lines when City and Suburban established an exchange in Covington, Kentucky. Shortly thereafter, City and Suburban contracted with Bell for long-distance facilities. By 1884, Cincinnati became known as the Telephone City, having far superior services to cities such as New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia. While Charles mainly oversaw this business, John served as the company's president beginning in February 1901. John's activities prior to accepting the presidency appointment to City and Suburban included participating in strike negotiations between the Union and Cincinnati Street Railway Company. John played a vital role in ending a 4-day transportation strike. He negotiated for increased pay, reasonable break periods, and increased crews per car for the workers. John also served as vice president of Franklin Bank and became the institution's chief financial officer in 1883. While these brothers were often considered hard-nosed and often dictatorial businessmen, they were also generous in spirit. They donated $10,000 and 4 acres of land to relocate the Cincinnati Observatory from Mount Adams to Mount Lookout. They also donated the Kilgour Fountain to the town of Hyde Park in 1900. They were among Cincinnati's most prominent families. Charles Kilgour passed away in 1906. His brother John continued to be active in their business ventures until 1913, after devoting nearly 40 years to the communication business. By then, Cincinnati and Suburban had 40 exchanges that served 64,000 telephone customers. John Kilgour died a year after his retirement, 1914. In 1922, Kilgour Elementary School, founded as an 8-room schoolhouse, was named in John's honor. It is easy to take transportation and communication abilities for granted today. However, had it not been for the tenacious drive for the latest and greatest in technology, the city of Cincinnati would not have been known as the transportation or communication hub it was and remains today.
Because of their courage and their creativity and their innovativeness, from that came hundreds of millions of dollars back into the economy, both in the form of taxes, but also in the form of employment. Kilgour was fortunate enough to be in Cincinnati when there was a tremendous amount of innovation and business being formed here. So, it was, I'm sure, an exciting time of which we have the legacy for today, that it's just as exciting today as it's ever been.
Without the Kilgour brothers and their determination to make Cincinnati the best it could be, we certainly would not enjoy such a rich history. We couldn't stay connected via travel or telephone. That's something to call home about. It is an honor to induct John and Charles Kilgour into the Business Hall of Fame.